isn't working for them. So yeah, recognise that potentially is a challenge. It's hard for us to recognise at the moment that, but it is within the context of actually how the criminal justice process works for low-level repeat offending anyway.
Thank you. Ellery, did you want to come in with a comment? And then Peter?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to give the panel assurance that PCCs across England and Wales are raising the issue of court delays at the highest level with the UK Policing Minister, the Home Secretary, and the Lord Chief Justice, Robert Buckland. To the extent that we have bi-weekly meetings, but I would commend the work of the criminal justice system in Wales that has worked really collaboratively. I sit on a fortnightly group with literally the head of the judiciary, head of probation at the most senior level, planning and trying to impact the issues around delays in courts. The situation is that magistrates are almost back to where they were pre-COVID. And I would also want to provide assurance to you that police and the Gwent Police and HMPPS prisons and probation work really collaboratively to ensure that we manage offenders who are in our communities, both pre and post sentencing and appearance in court. And the key focus for us now is achieving an even greater amount of our court work virtually, so that people don't have to be in court buildings and that we can maximise the use of digital technology.
Thank you very much. That's really interesting. Peter, do you want to come in there?
It was just a small comment that you mentioned, or the backlog and Crown. Crown deals with 5%. As Ellery mentioned, Magistrates Court deal with the 95%. Okay, right. So to hear that they're almost back on stream means that 95% of the people are being dealt with.
Lovely, thank you very much. That's really reassuring, actually. So a brief comment then from Councillor Eason, followed by Councillor Jordan, then we'll move on to the next question.
Yes, just a short question, Chair. It's to do with Headley Bach. Glad to see that we've gone from 50 to 80, which is a 60% increase. I'd like to know you did it on COVID, but could you make a quick comment on the last sentence where you're doing things virtually?
So there are a number of things in place at the moment with this, I think, to encourage the children to join online workshops. And those will be organised by the school themselves and joined by local officers where relevant. I can try and get some more detail around that if you'd like it, to know what, to give you an example of what one of those might look like. But I wouldn't have further detail at the moment.
It'd be nice to have a list of what schools are involved as well. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you very much, Councillor Eason. Councillor Jordan, did you want to come in with a point on the question that we discussed, and then a question from Councillor Mann, please?
No, Chair, it was just a bit of observation actually on page 130 with the number of 999 calls. It just seems a bit of coincidence. I don't know if it's just one of those things. Going back to 18-19 in Q2, there was 22,160. 2019 to 20, there was 22,310, and then Q2 of 2021 is 22,469. There's not much difference here on 999 calls. Is that just a bit of a coincidence, or for that one? And also on the 101 answered and abandoned calls, we've had a massive fluctuation from Q1 to Q2, where there's nearly 4,500 abandoned calls from Q1 and Q2. Is there a reason for that as well, or?
Yeah, so the numbers I'm pretty sure are correct, but as always, happy to get them rechecked. Excuse me. The abandoned call rate has changed because the system has changed. So the front end of the system directs people to other services, tells people about call waiting times, etc. And that has changed then the abandoned call rate. Again, this might be one that you'd like to understand more about as a panel as to how that works, because it does function to recognising that the police force is the service of first and last resort, and that, as you will see from the incidents, the number of actual crime-related calls are, a quarter of all calls coming in, that the new system does try to provide that information to the public so that they're not waiting for a call that actually then isn't really for policing. So that does affect how the whole throughput in the system.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Mann?
Thanks, Chair. First of all, I say thank you to yourself and Joe in particular for the improvement that has been made in this system. I think it makes far more sense than it used to. Going back to a couple of previous comments, I was looking at the year-to-date increase in the repeat offenders on page 110 and linking that to the comment that locking people out doesn't seem to work for so many people, because people are just, as somebody said earlier, the revolving door where very shortly after somebody's been released, they're back behind bars. So I was very pleased to hear that there was an initiative going on to maybe to address that. I don't know whether Larry can expand on that or not, but it is good to hear that people are looking at that, because it's been an issue for far too long, and it would be nice if it was being addressed in an effective manner. Thanks, Chair.
Absolutely, Chair. Happy to provide more information about the programme work that we're looking to develop, but it is exactly targeting Councillor Mann on the issue that you so eloquently describe, and it's very much looking at what are the right interventions that we need to be making to absolutely address offending behaviour.
Thank you very much. And a final question
thanks.
now. Oh, sorry, Colin. And a final question now from Councillor Spencer.
Thank you. Just quickly, I see, I was going to complain that the special constables have dropped, but I see it's on the increase again, which is great news. I just wondered quickly, how do we recruit these people?
I'm happy to take that, Chair. We have a very proactive recruitment approach for both our regular officers through Operation Uplift, our CSOs and our specials. And in fact, I think our specials recruitment was just recently open, and we are continuously looking to support and develop the work of our special constabulary in Gwent. I thank you, Councillor Spencer, for raising the issue of specials. And actually, it's very remiss of me in our COVID update not to have referred directly to the contribution that specials have made during COVID. It has been quite phenomenal. The impact of the contribution that they have made in our communities is significant, and making sure that we support our specials and value their contribution is something that I know the Chief Constable and the PCC are absolutely committed to.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Actually, that was one of my final comments, was the increase in the hours by the specials is incredible given the circumstances. And whilst I appreciate they may be on furlough or out of work at the moment, to then dedicate those hours to the force is an amazing achievement. So I think the panel will support me in saying, can we pass on our thanks to that service area particularly, and also to those engaging with the schools. The 30 extra schools engaged in Headley Bach is wonderful to see. So thank you very much for that. Moving on then.
Sorry, Jill. Just,
yes.
I know we were very tight for time, but I would just add into that our cadets, because actually our cadet programme has gone from strength to strength in supporting very vulnerable young people in our community. So our citizens in policing, as it's called, portfolio, which includes our specials, our cadets and our Headley Bach, are a true beacon of our work across Gwent.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that report, Joe, and pulling that together with the associated office staff and with the Gwent police staff. So thank you very much for that, and we look forward to the Q3 report in due course. Moving on then to agenda item 8 is the forward work programme. So I will pass over to Kath Forbes-Thompson for this agenda item, please.
Thank you, Chair. Just to highlight to members, the next meeting will be in March, as paid on page 131 of your pack. You will see it on the 5th of March, so it's early in the month compared to what we normally do. That's because we'll be in the pre-election period for the PCC election. So obviously we try and hold a meeting before we go into that time. At the moment, we've got the PCC update and also the item that members requested, the automatic facial recognition, which I think members will be delighted to have a presentation on that. And then the meeting after that will be on the 1st of July, and performance will be on that agenda, as well as the annual report.
Thank you, Kath. Councillor Mann, you've had your hand up question. And then over to Jeff Cuthbert,
Yeah,
please.
just could we have an update on the estate's strategy at an appropriate
Yes,
time in the
please.
future, please?
We got the estate finance, the estate strategy reference group on Monday, and part of that agenda is to identify how we engage with the wider panel from their work. So it's an agenda item. So certainly, Councillor Mann, we'll work out the periodic dovetailing in.
Okay, diolch, Dana.
Thank you. And I'll hand back. The Commissioner would like to have a few words.
Yes, it's just to thank everybody, especially yourself, Chair, for your indulgence today. This is an unprecedented time for me, never mind everyone else. And I want to thank those who've put up messages in terms of wishing me a full return to the health as soon as possible. I certainly share that. And I'm looking forward gradually to getting my strength and everything else back. I also want to place on record my thanks to the members of my team who've stood up to the mark in terms of representing me today, and I would expect nothing else from that. Absolutely. We remain, even though I've not been able to get involved in the nitty-gritty over the last coming up 2 months. Nevertheless, they've kept me informed of all major developments, whether they're a national, Welsh or Gwent issue, so that I do have a grasp of what is happening. What has been said today by my colleagues has my full support. No one should doubt that for 1 second. And I've absolutely found this quite therapeutic in terms of getting back into the thick of things and understanding what really concerns members of the panel, and that can only be to my advantage going forward. So just to thank everyone very much indeed, and particularly to the members of my team who've certainly represented my interest very well indeed. And thank you, Chair, as well, for your support.
You're very welcome. We're glad to have you on the meeting today and wish you a speedy recovery. Thank you to all panel members for being present and for the involvement and the participation today. Thank you to the OPCC's office. Excellent, informative discussions, putting the panel in a very good position to understand what's happening, and to the representatives for Pam Kelly and to the Chief Constable herself. Incredible efforts by Gwent Police, from the staff and the officers, and from all their supporting agencies and the emergency services at these times. If there are no further comments, I'm just checking the chat. No further comments from anybody? No? Okay, then we'll bring the meeting to a close. Thank you to Kath and Charlotte for administering the meeting. If you have questions that you would like the panel to raise for the next meeting, they need to be with Kath by the 12th of February. And if not, we will see you at the next meeting and pre-meeting. Take care and stay safe, everybody.
Lovely. Thank you, panel.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.